Hi, I'm John Norsworthy, an engineer at VMed Technology, and I'm going to step through the installation, configuration, and use of a VMed wireless remote with a Macintosh. Now this process is a bit involved, and the reason for this is that PC Display was designed solely for use on a Windows computer and not on a Mac. So in order to run PC Display and connect it to a VMed wireless remote, you must first install Windows. You can do that either using Boot Camp and just boot directly to Windows, or you can use a virtual machine and install Windows within Mac OS, using both simultaneously. And that's the option that we're going to explain here. For this tutorial, I'm using a Mac Mini that has Mac OS 10.10 Yosemite as the installed OS. I'm also using Parallels Desktop 10 for Mac as the virtual machine environment, and I will be installing Windows 7 Home Premium. And the version of PC Display that I will install is currently in beta, but is likely to be what PC Display is going to look like going forward. Keep in mind that both Parallels software as well as the Windows 7 OS are separate purchases. You will need to buy these before proceeding. So let's get started. The first step is to install Parallels, and I'm actually not going to go over this step since that's already well documented in a YouTube video. I'll leave the link to that video below and on the VMed tutorial videos webpage. Besides, it's a rather straightforward process. You download Parallels and you step through the brief installation. The second step, prepare Windows. Now this depends on what kind of Mac you have, since some of the more recent Macs no longer have an optical disk drive, such as on the MacBook Air or the Mac Mini. If yours does have an optical disk drive, then you're pretty much good to go, and you'll just need to insert the Windows install disk and have it ready. However, if like me you don't have an optical disk drive in this Mac, then you will need to either obtain an external optical disk drive and plug it in, or make use of another computer that already has one to create what's called a disk image. Now that is just a file that is essentially pretends to be this installation disk. There are instructions for this that I'll also leave below and on the VMed tutorials webpage. So go ahead and get that disk image created and on this computer before proceeding. Step 3. Initialize the Windows 7 virtual machine. So here we go. So when you open Parallels, you should see the Parallels wizard that's asking what kind of operating system that you wish to install. So first what we're going to do is select Install Windows or another OS from a DVD or image file, and we're going to click Continue. And here we're going to, if you don't have a optical drive that would find this automatically, we'll just go ahead and click Locate manually. And for me, I have a disk image file. I'm just going to go ahead and click and drag this here, and it recognizes it as Windows 7, so then I'll go ahead and click Continue. Right here is where you would normally type in your product key that came with your Windows 7, your copy of Windows 7. For me, in this, I'm going to go ahead and deselect this, and I'll just add it later. Clicking Productivity would probably be the easiest thing for now. So we'll select that and then click Continue. And then here, this is going to be the name that you see for the virtual machine. It's going to be Windows 7. And then we're going to put a check mark next to Share with other users of this Mac. And then next thing we're going to do is put a check mark next to Customize Settings before installation, so that we can go ahead and do that customization. And then we'll click Continue. Number 4, configure Windows 7 virtual machine. Now we're going to configure this virtual machine before we actually install Windows into it, so let's step through these configuration settings. So first we're going to click on Options, followed by Sharing. And here we want to just select None for the shared folders, and then we'll click Yes. And Yes once more. And that automatically deselected Share Mac User folders with Windows. And then I'm going to go ahead and deselect Share iCloud, Dropbox, and Google Drive, as well as map Mac volumes to Windows, just to keep things uncluttered. And also I'm going to deselect Access Windows folders from Mac. And then I'll go on to Applications. Share Windows applications with Mac. I'm going to deselect that. So that's more of the Parallels, what they call coherence mode. I'm going to go ahead and keep the Windows side separate from the Mac side, so it's easy to distinguish between the two. So I'll deselect that one and share Mac applications with Windows as well. And then we'll select coherence. Here we're going to keep show Windows notification area in menu bar, but we're going to deselect allow apps to auto switch to full screen. And then we'll click on full screen, and then we're going to deselect use OS X full screen. And I think the rest are the same. Modality, I believe we're going to keep all of those as they are. And then advanced, keep those as they are as well. Alright. Next is hardware. We're going to go down to mouse and keyboard. And for Smart Mouse, we're going to select Don't Optimize for Games. That'll keep your mouse pointer from accelerating when you move it. And also the same for keyboard. Don't optimize for games. Next is print. We want to make sure that it's set so you can share printers between your Mac side and your Windows side. Floppy disk, we're going to deselect that since I haven't seen a working floppy disk drive in years. We'll keep the rest of these the same. Going to look at USB and Bluetooth. I just want to make sure that this is deselected. By default it is like that. Just make sure you don't select that one for Bluetooth devices. And then the other two are fine as they are. And then finally security. I'm going to go ahead and keep all of these deselected as well. And we'll just close this now. So this set this Windows 7 virtual machine up. This Mac Mini has two CPUs, so we'll use both of those, 1 gig of RAM and 64 gigs of space. And now we are ready to continue. Number 5, install Windows. So now we're going to actually install the Windows. At first it'll take about a minute or so for the Windows installer to load. And we're just going to, I'm going to keep all of these settings and then choose next and then install now. I'm going to accept the license and then choose next. I'm going to choose Custom or Advanced to install a new copy of Windows, and then accept these settings, and it will begin the installation. And this process is going to take about somewhere between 15 and 30 minutes, so if you have other things to do, go ahead and do those now. Okay, so now that we're back here, go ahead and type in a username. And a computer name, and then click next. And if you want a password, go ahead and enter the password in here, as well as a hint. I'm just going to choose not to use a password here. And then here's where you would once again enter your product key, but I'm going to choose to activate this later. I'll choose to for it to ask me later as well. And I'm going to make sure that this corresponds with the correct time and time zone, and then click Next. And finally, you're going to choose which kind of network you have, whether home or work would be your option, most likely work. And click that, and it will continue on. Alright, once it's back up and going, you will also need to install the Parallels tools. So I'll click on this little yellow triangle here and choose Install Parallels Tools. And then we'll choose Install Parallels Tools once more. Choose Yes. Alright, and at this point, it looks like it's all successfully completed, so we'll go ahead and choose Restart. It's gonna ask about the coherence mode, and I'm going to go ahead and choose No. Okay, and so Windows Virtual Machine should now be completely installed. Our next step is to install the Bluetooth adapter for Windows to recognize. And there are two different kinds of adapters to use here, and I will go through both of them. The first kind is the external USB adapter, oftentimes referred to as a dongle. You would use this if you have a desktop-based Mac where you want to get the best Bluetooth range possible between your Mac and your vMed wireless remote. So let's do that now. We'll first click on the Devices menu option up on the Parallels menu. There we go. Devices, followed by External Devices. And you want to make sure that there's no check mark next to Apple Bluetooth USB Host Controller. And at this point, you'll insert the USB Bluetooth adapter into the into an available USB port on your Mac. And here you're going to get the question about how to use this adapter. So we're going to choose the Windows environment, the virtual machine. And we're going to wait for this driver to complete. Alright, device is ready to use. So now we'll go to Start and then choose Devices and Printers. And we're just going to make sure that this generic Bluetooth radio shows up here and that there's no exclamation icons to let us know that there was any problems with that installation. The second kind of adapter is the internal or built-in Bluetooth adapter, and this is the one that came with your Mac. However, the trick here is to get it to be properly recognized by Windows. So for that, we're going to have to do a few extra steps. First is we're going to go up to, once again, to Devices. We'll click on this window, then choose Devices and External Devices. And this one time we are going to put a check mark next to Apple Bluetooth USB host controller. And we're going to wait for that to complete its installation. Here it said the driver software was not fully installed. So we're going to go to Devices and Printers, and we'll see here the exclamation point icon also giving us that notice that it's not completely installed. So and now we're going to close this window and open up a web browser, the built-in, of course, being Internet Explorer. And I'm going to stop this and go to this website. I'm going to leave this in the as a link on the VMed tutorials page as well, but here's the address. This is a knowledge base article for Parallels. And we're going to scroll down to step number 2, install Bluetooth driver on your Windows. And here you're going to pick the associated download for your version of Windows. In my case, it should be 64-bit, so I'll right-click here and just make sure this is the 64-bit. Yes, system type 64-bit. So I'll go ahead and choose this, and I'll choose to run. And then I'll once more choose yes. And then I will go through this installation, choose accept, next, and finish. Alright, and now I should be able to open the device manager. And to find that item once more, choose Properties. Hardware tab, choose the Bluetooth USB host controller. Properties once more. And here I'm going to choose Change Settings. Click on I just click on Update Driver. And here we're going to browse my computer for the driver software. We're going to choose Let Me Pick from a list of device drivers on my computer. And here we're going to choose Bluetooth radios, and then next. And we're going to scroll down and find Apple, and then Apple Broadcom Bluetooth, built-in Bluetooth. So once we select that, we'll choose Next, and we'll choose Next. Choose Close, and then OK. And that has now installed that internal Bluetooth adapter. And the other item that had the question mark, the exclamation mark is now gone, and it's showing up properly here. Once you have a working Bluetooth adapter, you will need to pair your VMed wireless remote. So for this example, I'm going to be using a VetGuard Plus. So we'll turn on the VetGuard Plus by pressing release its power button, and then open Devices and Printers once more. And here we're going to choose Add a Device. And you should see it show up in this list. We're going to wait for its name to appear. There it is, VMed-VG20123, and that is the ID number for this this VetGuard Plus. So I'll select that, and then I'll choose Next. Here I'll choose the middle option, enter the device's pairing code, and I'm going to choose or enter the word default and all lowercase, and then click next. And once I see the close button, I'll click that, and I'll wait for this to completely install its any necessary drivers there, and it already has, so we can close this. Our next step is to download PC Display from the VMed website, so I'll go ahead and open up a web browser once more. And I'll type in the VMed Technology website. And then click the Download Support tab. And scroll down until we find PC Display. So this is the current version. I'll go ahead and choose that. I'll choose Run. And wait for that to download completely, and then it should begin its installation process. I'll choose Run. First screen, we'll choose Next. And on the license agreement, I'll choose I agree, and then Next. You can select one or both of these desktop icons to appear on your Windows desktop. I'm just going to choose the PC Display application only, and then choose Next. Make sure everyone is selected, and keep the default installation directory, and then choose Next. Finally, Next. Wait for that to completely install, and then choose Yes. Finally, close. Alright, so now we have PC Display installed. In some cases, you might have to configure PC Display for different Bluetooth adapter than what may already be recognized by Windows. So in that case, when it opens up, you might receive an error message. Go ahead and choose Cancel from that, choose the Tools menu, and then choose Edit Default Configuration. You're going to put a check mark and specify COM port number, and then put any number after that. I'll just put the number 1, say OK, and then close PC Display. And then now I'm going to find out the, go back to Start and then Devices and Printers to find out the actual COM port that's being used. So I'll double click on VMed VG20123, my VEDGuard Plus, and then I will select the Services tab and wait for that to show me which COM port was used. COM3. So I'll say OK. I'll close this, and I'll double click PC Display once more. I'll see this different window now, the VMed Remote Switcher window, and it says no remotes are configured. So I'll go ahead and click on the Configure button. I will, on the left side, choose VEDGuard Plus, and I'll just give it a name here to identify it. I normally just put the ID name number itself, and I'll put that COM port that we just saw, and then I'll say OK, and yes, I want to save it, and now it's entered in. The final step is to connect to your wireless remote. At this point, go ahead and turn your VEDGuard Plus back on, and then we'll click Connect. And in the patient information screen, you can go ahead and enter patient name or ID, or I'll just, in this case, I'll just click OK. And you are now connected. Now, if you didn't need to enter that COM port information, then when you open it up, you would be met with this window, and once more you just select your wireless remote, click Connect, enter your patient information, and then click OK, and it would wirelessly connect to your VEDGuard Plus or your vMed remote. So please note here that when you are done monitoring for the day, you can close this virtual machine and it will save your state. So you can either just choose to either shut down from the Windows side, or you can just close the window itself, and it will actually put it in suspend mode or sleep mode, or hibernation, I guess, and you can get back to it later from that same spot without having to actually go through the actual startup procedure. Thanks for your patience during this process. We at vMed Technology hope that this tutorial was helpful.